What are we talking about today on TVLine?
There's a show that you're on that some people like.
Never heard of it.
This Is You.
A lot of people get it wrong.
Excellent.
It's called This Is Us.
This Is Us.
And yes, we're about to start our 3rd season.
Have you shot anything for season 3 yet?
We just started shooting this past week. I haven't been on camera. Monday as my first day on camera as 70-ish-year-old Miguel.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 70s Miguel, and I got very excited about, like...
You like that hair that I wear?
The whole look is something.
Truly blown dry with
really,
extended sideburns.
Yeah.
It's actually the most fun part of filming the different timelines, because when you get your hair blown dry and it looks like what people looked like in the 70s, you go, wow, what were they thinking back then? Like, how did somebody think this was cool? Dan
recently said that you guys had shot some of the series finale.
We did shoot part of the end of the series, the entire series, last season. Yes.
Were you surprised by what you were shooting, or was it kind of like, oh?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was definitely surprised, but not blown away surprised, more just I didn't know, but I totally understand where the show's going to go, and it's something that everybody in the world will and can relate to. I
really loved last season seeing Miguel and Toby and Beth get to bond a little bit.
You mean the new big 3?
The new big 3 is what I was going to say. Do we see more of that this year?
We aren't privy to 100% of what's going to happen in a season, and that's something that definitely hasn't been talked about. But we did, one of the things I did talk about with the writers, because we've had, like, I had my little meeting with them, is just chemistry. What and who, like, what scenes did you feel the most chemistry in? Who do you have chemistry with as far as characters go, as far as your character go, and as far as, you know, personally? And Chris Sullivan and I have a lot of chemistry. We're very much alike, especially when it comes to our sense of humor. So we may see a lot more of Miguel and Toby interacting. Beth, she has, you know, a family. She's raising kids. Toby doesn't have kids yet. Miguel has kids that are out in the ether somewhere. We got to find out why him and his kids aren't very tight. So yeah, I think that we'll see a lot more of Toby and Miguel than Toby, Miguel, and Beth. But I'm hoping, because it was a lot of fun, the 3 of us hanging, and I do absolutely love Susan. She's you know, she's from New York. She's we also have a very similar sense of humor, and I would love to share the screen more with her. You knew before we did that Miguel wasn't all like creeping on Rebecca right after Jack died. That was a later in life thing when he came back into her life. But you couldn't say that to fans who were getting real mad at him online or saying things maybe. You know, I couldn't say anything about Miguel, you know, being, you know, not in the picture right after Jack died. But at the same time, it's more interesting to me to have people not liking Miguel as an actor, like as like my process trying to figure out, like, how do I turn them around, and how do I, you know, I'm not going to do anything, me personally as an actor, and the choices I make, I'm going to try to be as likable as possible. But the writing is the writing, so if they write something, I have to say it. You know, during that time period, most people weren't sure. It wasn't that they disliked. There were a lot of people that disliked and even used the word hate online on Twitter and Instagram and things like that. But there weren't a lot of people that were on the fence, or they just weren't sure. I don't know what his intentions. I don't know what happened. And I liked. That's the base that I wanted to try to bring over to the good side of the force. How much of Miguel's backstory have you been told, or have you made for yourself? We've actually created Miguel's backstory together. For instance, his last name is Rivas, and Rivas came from a guy that I served in the Air Force with. He was someone I got really close to, and that we, you know, had some great experiences and interesting experiences together while in the military. So that character is, you know, I wanted to pay homage to the relationship that we had. There are a couple of Easter eggs that I'm not going to even drop right now that I know that we're going to put in that we've come up with together, but it's really interesting to talk to Mandy about Rebecca and Miguel's backstory, because we've had to, we've been together now for 2 seasons, but we haven't seen their backstory and how they got together, so we've kind of created our own. So it's actually really fun to sit around and talk to Mandy on set about this is most likely what happened. This is what happened, and the things we come up with are some of the things are very adult, and some of the things you can't really talk about it on camera. But some of the things are very sweet and very, very nice. So Miguel's backstory with Rebecca is different from Miguel's backstory before, and we're still establishing that because we haven't seen much of Miguel before the 70s when Jack and Rebecca got married. So we will see some of that, I think, this season with regards to Jack and Miguel.
So there have been a lot of deep dive episodes on single characters. Do you think that's a possibility for Miguel?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I know they're going to do that.
Yeah.
It just it depends, because one of the things that we talk about with the writers is that in order you can't push Miguel down people's throats right now, because Jack and Rebecca, it's everyone's dream to be in a relationship like that. Where both people are so dedicated to each other, no matter what, even though the hard times. So you can't force this stepdad, this other guy down people's throats. That you have to go really slow and really watch your step. I feel like you're walking through a minefield.
Do you think it could possibly be something in this coming season, or would you see it like farther down the line?
Well, if we're taking our time, I think it would be more towards the end of the season, or maybe even next season, to really dive deep and dive hard. We still have pieces of William that are going to be there. We still have, there's some stuff that was set up season 1, season 2 that we still have to kind of play out with regards to Jack, with regards to Kate. I think all 3 kids, Kevin and Randall, both have lingering things like Kevin's desire for his mother's love and attention, Randall's feeling out of place as a black boy teenager, and then man in this white family. Those are things that we still are taking our time telling those stories, and we set those stories up as these were serious things that they were dealing with. The search for mother's love, the feeling like an ugly duckling, if you will, and then those are things that we have to kind of wrap up or be on the downhill on before I think we go, okay, there's a stepdad over here. So it could be end of the season, or I think, or beginning of next season. But we definitely had a conversation about doing a deep dive and talking about Miguel's ethnicity, which has not really been brought up, and how that's going to play out with maybe what Randall's going through. Miguel and Rebecca are a biracial couple. We don't even see a lot of those on television, which is great. It just kind of shows progression, and that's something when they were younger in the 70s, it was tougher to do that.
I can't stop thinking about you and Mandy making up backstory.
I'm glad you added that "and Mandy" because it got a little weird.
I can't stop thinking about you, Jon. You need to tell me something you guys came up with, even if it's silly, like some piece of Miguel and Rebecca backstory.
We have talked about this is just me and Mandy. It has nothing to do with the writers and what's really happening. But Mandy and I have said it's probably just a purely physical relationship. It's just about this is crazy hot. We've had that conversation sitting there in our old people makeup, in our chairs.
That's amazing.
And just laughing. And the rest of the cast will be in on the joke. Chrissy will laugh so hard, which is infectious when she laughs. First of all, she's actually one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. Funny and talented. And so to make her laugh too, that just brings me joy. So whatever I can do to make her laugh. So when Mandy and I are talking backstory, and we can tell people are sitting close and they're hearing us, we might start going in that direction on our own, so that people just overhear what we're saying, so they can go gross. Because Chrissy will say gross. Miguel would never do that, because she's from Florida. She's got that southern accent. She calls me Miguel, not Miguel, but it's like Miguel. She's very.
That's awesome.
Very southern. She's got that southern charm, which I love.